Abstract is a summary of what the study is about, and it is normally written in one page and may be structured or unstructured depending the journal guidelines. But always or normally, the abstract have 8 parts, which include the title, affiliated institution, corresponding details, corresponding other details, background or introduction, aim or objective, material and method, conclusion, as well as the key terms. Now, let us go to the types of abstract. As I said that there are 2 types of abstract, which are structured abstract and the unstructured abstract. And here in my left hand side, you can see the example of a structured abstract. A structured abstract is the one with subsection like an introduction, methodology, result, and conclusion. As you see in my left hand side from the paper done with one of our colleagues, who is Dr. Osima, who is among of a member of our firm. Now, an structured abstract is a type of abstract which is written in a way that it don't have a subsection or subtitle of each section of the abstract. Now, there is a good example here from a paper done with myself as the co-author, which is a good example of unstructured abstract. Now, always, different journals have different combination or guideline to direct authors or writers which type of abstract to apply. So there is no specific or recommended type of abstract here. Any abstract type can be utilized according or depending on the type of journal and the instruction from the given journal. Let us also look on the quality of good abstract. The good abstract should have different qualification, but not limited to be cautious. The abstract should be very conscious, written in a limited number of words, normally from 150 to 500, and to ensure that every sentence add the value and avoid the unnecessary detail. So the abstract should be in brief or in clear language in a way it have important details which is needed or related to the topic. Another issue is clear language. When writing an abstract, is important to avoid complex jargon or complex vocabulary or terminology which may confuse the reader. So now the abstract should be in a very broad language, which is the academic audience or scientific audience. Also, the abstract should be focused, strictly written with the key element or related to the topic or the aspect in which the abstract or the title it covers. Another issue is the match to the tone of the field. Take an example, you are writing an abstract on maternal death. Here, you should consider that your tone or your language must match with the maternal and reproductive education or field. Or you are writing your abstract in economics, or in sports, or in communication science. Your tone or your language must match together or consecutive with the field you are writing to or you are writing about. Also, another quality is the abstract should be revised and polished as much as you can. So a good abstract should often require multiple drafts in order to make sure the revised and published abstract have clarity, coherence, and cohesion. Another qualification is word limit. So normally, the journal limits the number of words which are needed in abstract. Some journal recommend 150 to 300, other to 500. So this depends on the kind of journal. And the last qualification is the structure or or the structure of the abstract. As I said earlier, the structure here can be structured or unstructured. And when I say structured, I mean that the abstract have subsection or subsection, but when I say unstructured, the abstract do not have a subsection. It is written in form like a paragraph, but when you read inside, you find each section is breaking within the paragraph. Now, let us look on the parts of abstract. As I said earlier, that the abstract have 80 parts, which include title, author affiliation, institution, corresponding author detail, the background, the aim or the broad objective, the materials and the method or methodology, the conclusion, as well as the key terms. So we will be starting to break how to write each part from the title to the key term. Starting to the title part, this is the first part of the abstract for scientific writing. It's the short heading of a research study or article or report that tells the reader what the study is about, and it's normally summarizing the many topics, the variable, and all the study have been taking place. The good abstract title should be clear, concise, specific, informative, epidemiological sound for the epidemiological study, and the suitable for the journal submission guideline. These are very key things to note, that every journal have its specific guideline to write each section of the abstract. And the last, but not the least, the word limit is very important when writing the abstract title. Some journals recommend 12 words, 20 words. So here, in terms of word limits, you have to read the journal guidelines, how many words recommended by the journal guidelines. Take an example of a good abstract title. If the study on availability, functionality of the newborn resuscitation equipment and its impact on neonatal survival in primary health care facilities in Tanzania. So when you look this title of the abstract, is meeting all important details, including the topic, the variable, the study population, as well as the location is included. And all features of the good abstract title is included here. Let us move to the another second part, which is very important when writing an abstract for scientific publication, is the author affiliation. The author affiliation refers to the institution organization where the authors or the author work or academic associated when the research was conducted. So the affiliation is where the author come from in terms of the institution or the organization. It also underscores where the study was conducted. The affiliation shows the professional background, the institution support behind the study. Why including author affiliation in abstract? It's able to identify where the research was conducted, and they show the institutional credibility of the author. So take an example, you are conducting a study, and then now you are including a reputable institution or reputable academic institution or other institution from the country. Take an example, you include institution like MOAS, like NIMLI, like Ministry of Waste. So this shows the credibility of the author, that the authors of this work come from a very reputable institution. Also, it indicates the academic, the department, the institution, and the country where the researcher or the author came from. Also, the author affiliation structure, it included the department or the unit where the author or the researcher come from, the institution, which might be the university, the organization, the seat, as well as the country where the author or the corresponding author come from. Take an example of a good affiliation structure. Take an example from the paper done by Jonas Masatu at the corresponding author David Osima and Emmanuel John. And then you see how the affiliation, you write that Mr. Jonas Masat, who the corresponding author in this manuscript or in this paper, is coming from Department of Epidemiology and the Biostatistics from Muhimbili University of Health Science from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So you see the institution, the department, the city, and the country is included, as well as other co-authors who is Dr. David Osima, who is also coming from the Department of Pediatrics and Child from Muhimbili National Hospital, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, as well as Emmanuel John, who come from Port S, Ministry of Health in Dodoma, Tanzania. This is just an example. They are not living. They are just an example. Also, the corresponding author detail. This is another third part of a good abstract for scientific publication. The corresponding author. Who is the corresponding author? A corresponding author is a person who first is the first writer of the work and will be contacted in each and everything related to the journal, related to the manuscript, or related to the paper after publication. So the corresponding author detail should have the full name of the corresponding author, the institution where the corresponding author is coming from, the full institution address, the email, as well as the phone number. But the phone number, some journal require the phone number, and some journal do not require the phone number. And why the phone number and the email of the corresponding author are very important, because the editorial team or the chief editor will be contacting the corresponding author on behalf of the co-author of the manuscript. Also, when the paper is published, if anybody in need to know anything regarding to the publication, the corresponding author email will be used to contact the corresponding author on behalf of the co-author. And sometimes the phones may be used to contact the corresponding author. So that's why the corresponding author email and the telephone number is very important. And now in my right hand side, you see a good example of corresponding author details. As we see, the corresponding author is Jonas Masat from the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics, Muhimbili University of Health Science from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and my email is there, and my contact is there. But the thing to note is, when writing corresponding author, some they have a specific mark to mark who is a corresponding author among all authors of the manuscript or of the abstract. Some use star mark, some use NA marks, depending the guideline, to mark that is the corresponding author. Take an example in this context. Jonas Masat is a corresponding author. That's why in the list of the authors, I have indicated the star link, which means that the ones with a star is a corresponding author. Let us go to the fourth part, which is introduction or background of the abstract. The background is the part of the abstract, which is the definition of research and the research manuscript. It's the introduction part of the abstract, which explain and which tell the reader what the general topic your studies belong to, why this topic is important, what is the problem in your topic or from the topic you are writing to or you are writing about, what is the gap, what are the key issues from your study you are aim to address. And it is, in a simple term, it answers the question why this research or this document is necessary or is important to be published. So these are the key terms when writing an introduction. And when writing also introduction, we remember that to include the gap when writing the introduction part of the abstract for manuscript needed for scientific publication. And the key element of the background is the structured introduction, the general context, in a global or a regional situation, the magnitude of the problem using statistics if possible, the gap or knowledge or in practice, and why this study is important. So these are the key elements when writing any background of abstract for scientific publication. How to write it? To start to introduce a topic in a broader or in a general area, we narrow the topic down to a specific problem or a research gap, and here we focus on our objective, and it can be clear in 1 to 2 sentences depending on the journal guideline. And the formula or the structure we use, we start from the general issue or general context, evidence of the problem, the research gap, and then the objective of our study. Take an example: the general topic, the regional global context, the specific problems, and then the objective of the study. Now, this is a good example of a good introduction part of an abstract for scientific publication. Neonatal mortality remains a major public health challenge in many low middle income countries, including Tanzania. Limited availability and the functionality of newborn resuscitation equipment in the primary healthcare facility may contribute to the preventable neonatal mortality or neonatal deaths. This highlights the need to access equipment readiness and its impact on neonatal survival. So when you see this example, it covers all important parts which needed when writing an introduction for an abstract for scientific publication. The fifth part is a research aim or broad objective. The research aim or broad objective is a clear statement which states what the study is aimed to investigate. It tells the reader or the audience the exact focus of the research and what the study intended to find out. In a simple term, it answers the question, what is the study trying to investigate? A good research aim should be clear, specific, focused on the main problem, short with 1 to 2 sentences, smart form or smart sometime or smart format sometime is allowed in terms of specific, measurable, attainable, liable, and time bounded. But it depends also on the journal guidance or the journal instruction. How to write a good research aim or broad objective? You write in 1 to 2 clear sentences that describe the main research issue or problem, the objective or aim of the study, and some the preparation or setting where the study is conducted. Let us look at a good formula of writing a good broad objective or research aim. Start with the aim, add action verb, add the main verb or variable, which is the problem, the study preparation or setting. A good example here, the aim of this study is to access the availability of and the functionality of the newborn resuscitation equipment in the primary healthcare facility in Tanzania. So you see how clear the broad research objective is written, or the research aim is written here. It have the aim, it have the action verb, it have the main variable or the problem, it have the preparation, and it have the setting, which are the key elements when writing the good research aim or broad objective. Let us move to the sixth part, which is the methodology. And this is a very critical part when writing an abstract for scientific publication. The methodology explains why the research was conducted and show how the researcher conducted this research. It describes the process used to collect data, to analyze data, so that the audience or the reader should understand how the findings were generated and obtained. In a simple term, it answers the question how this study was carried out. What to include now when writing a good abstract methodology? We should include the design, which might be cross-sectional style design, mixed style design, systematic review, analytical review, whatever and whatever. It's depending on the design of the study population or the data source. The data source is commonly used for the secondary data. Data collection method like survey, interview, recordings, or secondary data review. The data analysis method, including the statistical software, whether it's Stata or it's Epinfo, whether it's Excel, whether it's ARA, whether it's Phantom, the type of analysis used, whether it's thematic analysis, whether it's grounded theory analysis, it's depending on the design or the format or the approach of the study used. And then now, when writing a study design, we should focus on data source or the study participant, the data collection, and data analysis. Take an example of a good research methodology. A cross-sectional facility assessment was conducted in primary healthcare facility, where data collected using an observation and a checklist to assess availability and the functionality of newborn resuscitation equipment and descriptive statistics were used to summarize the finding. So this is an example of a good and a brief writing methodology section of an abstract for the scientific publication. Let us move to the seventh part of the manuscript abstract for the scientific writing, which is the results or the finding. The purpose of this part is to consciously present the most important outcome of the study or the project or of the report, highlighting the key data points or trend without excessive detail. How to do it? We should describe the most significant findings that answer the research question or the research objective in 3 to 2 sentences, focusing on the major trend or the major outcome of our study. Example of a good result or finding when writing an abstract for a manuscript for scientific publication. The assessment revealed a significant variability in the availability of the newborn resuscitation equipment across primary healthcare facility in Tanzania. While bag masks and the device were available in 78% of the facility, the critical equipment such as functional suctioning apparatus was available by 45% and the oxygen concentrator was available by 32%. The facility with complete resuscitation equipment package reported to be 40%, which is lower mortality rate compared with missing or non-functional equipment, suggesting the direct association between equipment readiness and neonatal survival outcome. So this is the summary of a good result or finding when writing a good manuscript abstract for scientific publication. Now let us move to another part, which is the conclusion. The purpose of writing conclusion in an abstract for scientific publication is to wrap or to summarize the overall significance of a study and its potential impact on the future research on the future project. How to write it or how to do it? We write it in 1 to 2 sentences to conclude your abstract, touching on the future research direction or long-term benefit of your research project or your work. A good example is here. This study highlighted the essential role of equipment readiness in neonatal survival, and the future research should be done to explore the implementation of strategic for suitable equipment maintenance, and functionality in similar resources limited setting. So this example summarizes a good conclusion when writing an abstract for manuscript needed for submission in different journal for scientific publication. The last part of a good abstract for a manuscript for scientific publication is the key terms. What are the key terms? The key terms are the important words or short phrase that describe the main point of a research or a study or a project or a report. They help a reader or researcher as well as the citation database like Google Scholar, PubMed, Inlari to search your article when it is published. Also, another purpose of the keywords, it helps to improve the stability of your publication in the scientific database, as I said earlier, like PubMed, Inlari, Google Scholar, Crossref, and other citation database. It identifies the main concept of the research. It helps the journal index to correctly allocate your report or your paper after publication. The source of the keywords may come from the key topic, the exoticum, the population, or your setting. Also, the key words should have related to the topic, the outcome, and the setting. The quality of a good keyword should have specific to the start, short phrase in 1 to 3 words, relate to the main variable in the study population. A good example is here related to our topic or to our title in press. The keyword here are variability, functionality, newborn resuscitation equipment, neonatal survival, and the primary health care facility. And here are the good example of a good abstract. Take an example from our already published paper from our farm. And a good example here is the example of an structured abstract, which contain all important parts as I described earlier. Another good example is here from the study on mapping and the factors associated with home delivery among reproductive women in Tanzania, a demographic and a survey of 2022. A study done with Dr. David Osima, who is one of our colleagues. And here are the key elements, which I clarified earlier, that they are very critical and important when writing a good manuscript abstract for scientific publication. Another good example of a structured abstract on the study on hypertension prevalence associated factor among adults in Tanga region on the 23, a community-based cross-section study done with me and one of our colleagues here, and Mr. Sefo Yosima as a corresponding author of this manuscript or of this publication. Another good example of a good abstract is a study done with our colleagues, Dr. David Osima and other co-author on the HIV self-testing uptake and associated factor among adolescent girls and young women in certificate and the diploma college at Dodoma, Tanzania, a cross-sectional study. So when you read these oral examples, you see different journal. This is from BMJ Open Journal, and this is from GEPH Journal, Journal of Interventional Epidemiology and Public Health, and this is from BMC Journal, and this is from Scientific Report Journal. So, things to conclude, an abstract is an important section when writing a good manuscript for scientific publication. So when writing a good abstract for manuscript for scientific publication, first we should read a manuscript journal writing guideline to know which are the critical quality the journal recommend in order to write a abstract for the given manuscript for scientific publication. Failing to adhere to the journal guideline when writing a good abstract for scientific publication, it may result to the rejection of your manuscript with the chief editor or technical check of the journal. So the critical issue here is to note that you follow step by step the recommendations from the journal guideline in order to rephrase your manuscript abstract in order to meet the requirements of the journal. As I mentioned, the 80 parts of the manuscript, they are not important that all journal require this important 80 parts. Some journal may require 7 parts, some may require 6 parts. So you have to adjust yourself to the specific requirement of the journal. And lastly, scientific writing skills is a very important skills to the mid-career researchers, junior researcher, in order to prosper and to improve their writing skills, writing knowledge, and to increase their publication when writing manuscript for the scientific publication. So I invite you all to the question and discussion part of our session today, but I invite you also to follow the next session, which will be announced with our moderator. And at the end of our session, after completing from the first session to the fifth session, every one of our participants will be now to start him or her to write his manuscript for scientific publication. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for following me and for giving this chance to present before you. Thank you, our moderator, and thank you, our participant. Welcome, our moderator and our participant for the next session. Thank you very much. Terima kasih in Indonesia. Thank you very much for Tanzania. Asante sana.
Thank you, Mr. Masatu, for the very nice presentation. I think everyone who was following grasped something on scientific writing, particularly on the abstract section of the manuscript. Before continuing, let me recognize the presence of Edna Kibango, who was resident, Emma Kulwa, also Irene Model from Montemeru, but also I would like to welcome our colleague, Mr. Nicky Mwenda from Kenya. He is also the founder of EdHub Global Research Consultant Services. Mr. Nicky, you're warmly welcome. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Muguna Nick Mwenda, as you have heard. And first of all, greetings to our Muslim brothers this special day and all great followers of Innovators Group. One thing that I appreciate with this group is the expertise that they bring in the field of medical sciences and medicine. And despite also being a researcher, I never miss a series or a moment to consult from you people and also get the worthwhile knowledge that you have. I like the collaboration that we have earned for the past 2 years that we have known each other. And I believe when two great minds rock ends, we are going to help this great fraternity of education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nixon Mwenda, the founder of EdHub Global Research Consultancy. And also before continuing, I would like to tell our audience that as a research firm, as a research consultants firm, we provide services to consult research projects, monitoring and evaluation, basing on research proposal development, quantitative and qualitative data analysis, preparing online data collection tools such as COBO and ODK, using software such as Starter and SPCS. Also, we are doing article reviews, dissertation, research correction, PPT defense, together with the concept note and the manuscript. But also, we are doing the part of graphic designs such as logo, posters, business card, banners, flyers, roll-up banners, etc., etc. But also, I have shared in the chat box our WhatsApp channel so that everyone will be able to access our today's PPT, but also some important documents during developing the manuscript, writing the thesis, and also developing the proposal. So I would like to take this time to welcome Dr. Osima as a guest. If he have anything to add after Dr. Masato presentation. Okay, I think Dr. Osima told me that, so you can continue with the discussion section at the time I have lapsed in. So I have seen some hands from Hussein Balanzika, but also we have a question from someone in the chat box. Agnes Tesha. Agnes Tesha is asking if we can use abbreviations in the abstract. Mr. Masato, if you can respond this, please welcome, but also anyone with a question should write in the chat box or raise the hand. Thank you.
Thank you, our moderator. I think I could accept more than 5 questions, and then I will respond one after another.
Okay, so thank you, Hussein Balanzika. Welcome for your question, followed by Justin Chilembo.
Thank you, moderator, for giving me this opportunity. But in hand, I would like to congratulate Mr. John Masato for this poetic presentation regarding on manuscript writing. So for me, it's not a clear question, but it's just a kind of guidance regarding to the section of results and the findings writing on the part of manuscript, where now we have seen that there's different approaches of writing of tackling research, where you can do it in terms of qualitative and quantitative or mixed way or mixed method. So I wanted to get a guidance regarding to qualitative part. How can we make it as precise and clear when presenting our findings? Because I have seen somewhere here there is a kind of limitation that you need to be systematic and you need to be as short as it's possible. So I would like to get a guidance on how we can present our qualitative results, of which always they are in terms of phrases, words. So how can we make it summary to get it to conform with the manuscript journal guidance, to make it very clear? I wanted to get a guidance regarding to this. Thank you.
Chilembo, Yasmin Chilembo, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much for the nice presentation. Congratulations to the innovators for this series. My question, actually, I need more clarification. Can the presenter talk more about the online keyword generators? There are plenty of those, and if you could please talk more about those, because in some journals or in some places where we submit abstract, they require us to use some online keywords extractors. Thank you.
Masato?
If no more question, let me respond to these 3 questions from our participants. First of all, I appreciate for your good constructive questions and comment. This question indicates that you are very interested with the session and you was following me from point to point. And your question underscore the needs to improve our manuscript writing skill, which is a very important skill needed recently for the junior research and the mid-career research in order to publish their manuscript and to be recognized in terms of scientific writing. Now, let's start the first question, if abbreviation is allowed. Mostly, abbreviation are not recommended when writing an abstract. We just recommend to use the full term when writing an abstract. But regarding that, abstract abbreviations are not allowed, but you have to read the journal guidelines when writing the abstract part of the manuscript, because you may find one journal recommend abbreviation and the one journal do not recommend. So in general, the abbreviation are not allowed, but just pass through the journal submission guideline on how writing the abstract. And the good way to understand the journal guidelines is to read the recent published paper from the given journal. So whether you want to publish a paper from PROS 1 or PROS Global Public Health Journal, so go in a PROS 1 Global Public Health Journal, download or find out a recent published paper, read the paper from step to step, and then subject the information you get from the paper together with the journal submission guidelines. I think it will be thoroughly understood what the journal recommend when writing the manuscript abstract. The second question was the qualitative part of the qualitative, how to write, how to clearly summarize the abstract for qualitative study. Of course, I apologize, some of our participants, we mostly epidemiologists prefer quantitative study, but I need to give a clear example on how to write a result section of a quantitative study. Or in my session, I mostly use the quantitative based study, but it's just the same. The formula is the same, but the key issue, you know, the abstract is very, very, very limited in terms of words. Some journal recommend 150, 100 words, and the one recommend 300. Some journal recommend 250 words. So it's very limited. So when writing the result section for a abstract for scientific application for qualitative study, we should be clear as much as we can, and we should be shorter as much as we can. Here, we should not mention the phrase or the quotation of our participant, but here we should identify the key themes of our results, which we find during analysis or during analysis. So take an example. The study find that poor knowledge, attitude, and low exposure among healthcare provider was the issue for poor availability of neonatal equipment at primary healthcare facility. So here we do not mention the quotation from participants during results. Here we mention the key themes which we find in our study. So to repeat, when you write an abstract for a result section for abstract in a quantitative study, we should not require to mention the quotation other than the key themes which highlighted in our study. And lastly, another question was how to navigate with the keyword from the journal system and the keywords from our manuscript. Here are the two things which are different, but sometimes mimic. You find your manuscript is, take an example, this paper from uh, from Dr. Osima, a paper published by Dr. Osima, mapping the factor associated with home delivery among reproductive women in Tanzania, a demographic and a survey of 2022. So when you start to find the keywords here from the paper, the keywords may be, let me use this. Let me use this one to have the keywords. Yeah. Take an example, the paper, my recent published paper on the prevalence, determinants of cesarean section among women in selected years facility in Njombe region of Tanzania. From my context, my paper keyword is cesarean section, post-delivery women, maternal and newborns. So these are the keywords from my paper. But when I went to the journal, I find another ways which are not from my paper. So the issue here, I should select the words which look similar, or they found from the same topic. When I navigated to the journal, I find the word cesarean section, I found it, women health, neonatal, maternal, and health. So I selected the words from the system. So the things to note, the words from your manuscript, the keywords from your manuscript might not similar from the keywords from the journal system, which are online permanently available in the system. So the things to note here, you should look which ways are similar or they have the same meaning but different pronunciation or different wording. I think I have addressed the first draft of 3 questions from our participants. Thank you very much. Welcome to you, or turn to you, our moderator.
Thank you, our presenter, for the nice, satisfying answers. I think Balanzika and Chilembo satisfied with the answers from Masato. If no,
very much, sir. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome also Mrs. Glory Asenga from Muhasi. There is another question. If we have a question, please, you can raise the hand, or in the chat box, you can raise the chat box. Thank you for the nice presentation, but the title of author affiliation and the corresponding author details are not part of the abstract. Jovina Adam. Okay. Thank you, Jovina Adam. From Michael Paston, he's saying that what if I am not from institution and conducting research on my own? I think his question is basically on author's affiliation.
I'm sorry, moderator, I didn't understand the question from Jovina.
Jovina is just giving the comment that the title, author affiliation, and the corresponding author details are not part of the abstract. Can you say something, Mr. Masato?
Thank you very much for her comment. It depends. You know, here we are not talking in abstract for dissertation or abstract for proposal writing. We are talking this part regarding to the publications and regarding to the publication process. And when you review the journal guidelines, you find that most of the journal guidelines highlight these important parts, which are the key elements of the abstract. Oh, here we are not clarifying abstract for for scientific conferences, when we are writing regarding scientific conference, we are writing regarding to dissertation, you are writing to regarding to research reports. Here, those parts might be not a part of abstract. But when writing in a context of scientific writing, are the part of manuscript abstract, because the journal underscore those party one after another. And the one party, when one party is missing directly, the journal may reject your work or may reject your manuscript. So I think I'm clear, understood. And the last question from our participant that if not, I don't have an affiliation, how can I go about in house affiliation? It is not easy, and it is not possible to a person to conduct a research or to write a report or to write any publishable document without affiliation. Even though you are from private company, you are privately employed, you should clarify where you are employed, your address, your country, your regional, your institution, whether it's private. So the outer affiliation or institution affiliation is very important, because the chief editor or the editorial team of the journal, they need to understand the validity, the credibility, where this paper was came from, or who wrote this paper, or which institution this paper came from. And this underscore the credibility of your manuscript. So it's not possible to the paper to be published without other institution affiliation. Thank you very much for the question. Welcome all time to you, our moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Masatu. Dr. Osima,
Hello.
can you chip a little on Jasmine Chilembo question?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, my colleague, for the elaborations of everything with the discussions of some constructive questions. So let me add some points on our colleague questions about the key words generators. For sure, there is some journals in which you may find they have their key generators while you are submitting your project or submitting your manuscript, and other journals just they recommend for yourself to generate the keywords and then providing them to the dialog box found when you are just submitting your project or manuscript. But the keywords aren't just for the Google, but these are the tags that allow database like PubMed, Scopus, and Web of Science to index your work correctly. And this may be used to just to identify your key areas depending on your project or manuscript in which you are just want to submit in the specified journal. But here are the top online keywords generated specifically for researchers, categorized by how they work. For example, in the medical health science, this is one of the best ones which are mostly used. And then if you are writing for the health journal, you must use a controlled vocabularies to ensure your paper is grouped with a similar research. Another one is under this medical health science, we have the mesh on demand, which is found in a PubMed journal. And then we have another one, which is mesh browser. And all of this one aim to control your vocabulary, which are produced or you are aiming to produce as a keywords. Another one is AI-powered research assistance, which is used as a tool to analyze the entire draft to extract your author's keywords, depending with your project title. So another one is general academic or SEO tools, which all of these help you to phrases and your keywords as a really researcher's actual type the title, and just they may need your abstract to see what are the keywords with the controlled vocabularies depending on the journals which you are aiming to submit your work. So the keyword generators may be found, they are found in the database, but they may be found when you are submitting your manuscript in the specified journal by providing the directions and step by step in producing your keywords. But upon that, we have some clarification that is not on the affiliations, in which my colleague already elaborated, but I need to add some point there. That is not necessarily that every researchers or publisher to include the affiliation, but this may not work for some journals, but some journals like Elsevier, Springer Natures, and Wheelers may accept with condition, because the affiliations is related to scientific quality, clear methodology, and ethical proof. So if you are not including the affiliations while you are submitting your paper, it may contradict in the journal that where do you exactly get your ethical approval? Do you have a clear methodology or scientific quality? So on the affiliations, try to provide the link of your scientific quality and the methodology and ethical approval. And you may find that you have your paper may be rejected exactly if you have not provided the clear affiliation. So please try hard to write your affiliations, which you will provide your credibility on quality, methodology, and ethical approval, and original contributions to the science in which the journal will require to see it while you are submitting your paper. So thank you so much, moderator. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Osima, for the nice elaboration. I think Jasmine Chilembo now is satisfied. Jasmine.
Yes, I'm very satisfied with the answer.
Thank you.
I
Anyone
think
with the...
our moderator allow more questioning. We still have time.
Okay. Any question in the chat box, or you can raise the hand for the comment or your contribution.
Or any contribution to the upcoming sessions, because we have more than a session coming later in the 2 weeks later. So
Yeah.
want even your input to improve.
I see the hand from Dr. Osima. Welcome, Dr. Osima.
Thank you so much. While they are just thinking of the questions and some maybe contribution, suggestion, and recommendation, let me elaborate two things that was earlier clarified on how can we or how can you keep the limit on the words. This is the very sometimes difficult to other writers. Like, how can I reach at least 150 to 300 words in writing my abstract? As we have seen that your abstract have to be short, clear, and concise, but while keeping the limit of word, you have to be so much careful to preserve your meaning, to preserve your objective, to preserve the purpose of your study or the purpose of the project while you are trying to keep the limit of the words. First of all, we have to eliminate unnecessary words. Unnecessary words means the words which may not carry the meaning of what you are trying to deliver to the readers while you are trying to submit your or to write your abstract. But using the short or familiar words which may carry the same meaning of what you are trying to write and to deliver to the populations, but not use the jargons. Depending on your fields, you may need to write a lot of terminologies, maybe to preserve the limits of the words or a reference. So use the familiar words, short, that make sure that you are not distorting your meaning, and using the simple sentence structure. Make sure that you preserve your objective, you preserve the purpose of what you are trying to say, to write to the audience, that they may be attractive and understandable to everyone, and attractive to those readers, because when you are just submitting your manuscript, it's going to be read by a lot of people, maybe other than they are not in the field in which you are just communicating and so forth. But make sure that the information is not in the main on the board of the manuscript. Means that others they just copy and paste the sentence from the maybe in the introductions, the methodology, they copy and paste in the abstract. So you have to rephrase and paraphrase the what you have wrote in the introduction, methodology, result, in the discussion, and then to rephrase them just to provide in the abstract, which is clear and concise, but not leave out the data on the primary outcome. Your primary outcome have to be guided, and just write it in very clear language that everyone must understand it. And just I have said that do not copy the sentence on the text from the other sections and then paste them in the abstract. And don't include the reference and the abbreviations as it has been stated, and do not exclude the main statistical exclusion or conclusions that are very important to your. So make sure that you conclude your abstract with a very critical and a very nice interpretation that you may attract the readers. Moderator, thank you so much for this time, and thank you so much for all colleagues we have been joined to us for these sessions too. And then on behalf of Innovator, thank you so much. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Osimo, but please don't put off your mic. I would like you to answer the question from Geoffrey Mtewele. He asked if the abstract can be published or it's just a summary of the manuscript. The abstract is written only when you have a manuscript, or it can be written without a manuscript. Dr. Osima, back to you.
Okay, so thank you so much again for this constructive question. Is it possible to publish or just the abstract, or it needs some full things like a manuscript from the introductions to on the way to the discussion and everything? So it is possible to, the abstract can be published. Maybe while if you have the experience of attending the conferences like the THS and the WHO and the other international conferences, you may find that the abstract are published, the posters are published, the oral presentations are published. So it is possible from the publications from the abstract, but few journals sometimes do not allow the publication of just the abstract, and they need the whole things on the manuscript, which is full written from the introduction abstract to the whole way to the discussion and the recommendations. So some of the journals like Elsevier and Spring Natures, sometimes they do not allow this publication of just in the abstract, but in whole thing generally that the abstract can be published. Thank you so much, moderator. Back to you.
I see the hand from Jonas Masatu. Masatu, any addition?
Additionally, from our colleagues, Dr. Osima toward